Hello everybody. Welcome to another Hands-On with me, Christian Schiller. Although I've kind of changed the title a bit this time, as you can see. But generally, every week, 1700, 5 p.m, 1600, 4 p.m, those sorts of times, late afternoon, Central European time or Central European summertime. It is wonderful outside. So as soon as this video is done, I'm getting out into nature, definitely. Anyway, I try a piece of technology, a new tool, a new project, a new product, not even that new actually, although today is very, very new. As the text says, I'm going to be looking at a new terminal. What does that mean exactly? Why does Warp consider itself the terminal for the future? All of that and more coming very soon, but if you enjoy what you're seeing, you can find more at christianschiller.com. You can also find all my other videos, my gaming videos, my podcasts, other random videos I sometimes do, and my writing, all my projects, etc., etc. And you can find much more about me there if you enjoy this. Today is Warp. What is Warp? Let's jump into a screen share. Warp is a terminal. A terminal is, well, I guess you're probably not watching along if you don't really know what a terminal is, but just to recap, a terminal is something that people, quite often developers, DevOps, etc., people who want to interact with, well, their system in a different way, shall we say, use to issue commands. And often there's commands that are equivalent to things you might use in the desktop, in Finder, for example, but also interacting with all sorts of other ways. Terminals are quite opinionated. Everyone kind of has what they like. And actually for now, very quickly, I'm going to kind of show you mine. You've probably seen it before if you've ever watched any of my videos before. I use iTerm. iTerm 2, which is on macOS, is a pretty standard and classic terminal replacement. Why do I use it? macOS also has an inbuilt terminal called Terminal. It's also perfectly decent. You can actually see that there's some similarities here, and I'll come to that in a second. I'm just going to recap a few things, because I think this might be important when we have a look at what Warp offers. It offers things like profiles. That's the other one. Profiles, for example. I have my default profile and the profile I use when I'm doing videos, which is a bit bigger with the font, and I get rid of the transparency and things like that, basically. A lot of other settings. I don't know. I must admit, it's one of those tools that has always been so commonplace. I just kept using it. There's a lot of customization and things, but to be honest with you, for a lot of people, and I am not a terminal power user, I should probably begin by saying that. The basic terminal in macOS and then many other operating systems is probably perfectly decent. Where things get really interesting is where you add customizations. So you also have a shell environment. For many years on many platforms, it was always Bash. On macOS now, it's actually ZSH. You can always switch between them. There's a couple. The main common ones are Bash, ZSH, and Fish. I tried Fish for a bit. It was a bit too much for me. And then you have a variety of customizations. So I actually use, I'll show you this now. This is already showing some aspects of terminal. I use something called ZSH and a couple of other tools to get customizations I like. So for example, I'm currently using something called Fig, which you see from here, these sort of autocomplete thing. I'm actually going to cover Fig in a future video, so let's not dig too deep into that right now. But this is my configuration for my ZSH shell, which does all sorts of things. It loads some other files, basically. It sets up paths. There's a lot of comments here, actually. It adds some plugins from ZSH. I don't really know how many of these I'm using, to be honest with you, on a regular basis. Various aliases and additions to my path. Additions to your path basically mean places where you want the terminal to look for various bits of information to find commands, generally. You can see I've got some settings in No, I don't have settings in here. This is actually my, I don't think, you know what? I think I've very, very rarely actually ever looked at what's in the, so, oh my ZSH is another kind of way of customizing a terminal with all sorts of plugins and themes and all sorts of things. And this is just saying load in that folder as well. Yeah, various things for programming languages, etc., 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 etc. Another interesting one here to note is Starship. That's how I'm actually customizing my prompt here. So I can also look at Starship config, and we'll see. Yeah, you can see some of the things I have here. The characters I want, some plugins. It comes with a whole bunch of plugins that it auto detects where you are in the folder structure. But I've also turned one off, for example. I can't remember why I turned it off. I should probably turn it back on again. But also Kubernetes, and I could configure these endlessly, but it's mostly for this part of the terminal. Anyway, that's kind of what I have right now, effectively. And I've also got a bunch of things enabled through iTerm, like history of commands. What else? The aliases are there. So you've already seen one of those. I mean, this is an alias itself. I have fig in there, which is something extra, etc., 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 etc. You kind of get to a point where you like your terminal and you like the way it's set up. I've synced these settings between many devices. But we're actually here to take a look at Warp. Warp, the terminal for the 21st century. Not quite sure why yet. We'll figure that out in a minute. Product hunt, #1 product of the day. I mean, that's good. It happens reasonably regularly, but it's good. It's Mac only at the moment, which is interesting because it's actually written in Rust. Some of the other terminal equivalents that have come out recently, I think Kitty is one. There's been a lot of tendency to put them into JavaScript. I don't want a terminal in JavaScript, sorry. So it's Rust. You know, that's fine. Rust is C-like. It's pretty performant. We've looked at Rust applications before on the stream. Let's have a look. What are the kind of some of the features are here? And we'll go through some of them in a bit more detail in a minute and try and figure out why that might be useful. A block. Not quite sure what that means. We'll come to that in a minute. A text editor. A text editor? Okay, interesting. This actually, from what I just saw from that clip, this could be something I'd be looking for. Command lookup. We may have to disable fig in this particular case. I think that might be clashing there. Visual history. We saw that kind of traditional command line history. This is doing it a bit differently. Fast. Yeah, look at that. I like it already. No Electron or WebTech. Private and secure, backwards compatible. Works out the box with all the things I have already. Modern features for modern development. Input that feels like a code editor. So, yeah. If this means I can literally move my mouse around to change my cursor, I'll be very happy. I'll be almost switching. Form commands. Interesting. This is reminding me a little bit of, you go back and watch my video on creating extensions for Raycast, which is what I use here. This has some similar concept, actually, I think, in some respects. I think. I'm not sure. We'll see in a minute. Run your documentation inside the terminal. This appeals to someone like me, of course. Terminal sharing. Interesting. And lots of customization. All right. We'll install, and then I'm wondering where the best place to start is. I don't know if there's like a getting started or how it works, maybe. Not sure the best place to begin. This is kind of telling us what we know already. So this is interesting. I think Metal is the macOS like graphical libraries. I'm guessing that's what that means. It doesn't actually explicitly say it, but I'm guessing that's what that means. Oh no, here we go. Yes, it is. Yep. Yep. This is possibly why making it cross-platform is a little harder, but I'm liking the sound of all these things. I don't really need to worry too much about this right now, but this is kind of not quite what I was looking for. This is a bit too in the weeds. We want to more sort of get started. I don't know. I suppose we really need, it's a terminal. It doesn't really need a getting started guide. Oh, it does, it has one though, so whatever. All right, well, interestingly, I'm going to use my current terminal to install a terminal. Ooh, shouldn't take too long, I guess, although it may build it from source. I don't think so. I'm not sure if it's open source. Don't think it is. There's a GitHub repo. But I'm pretty sure they got funding, so it's going to be pretty hard for them to get funding if it's fully open source, I guess, for a terminal. Issues only. Yep, there we go. So it's not open source. Okay, installed. I guess we now just quit iTerm and carry on from here. Aliases might not copy over. Logging in. Okay, I think this is probably all we really need. As I say, it is just a terminal. There's only so much onboarding that's needed, really, I guess. Let's see what happens. Yep. Now I remember hearing an interview with the developers, and this is an ongoing trend with many developer tools. You have to sign up. Fig makes you sign up as well. And it feels a bit weird. It's a terminal. Why do I need to sign up? I don't know. Not so keen on that idea, but that's the way it is, I suppose. Click the link in an email. Oh, I don't know, what am I? There's no other. I'm an other. I'm not really any of these. Yeah, whatever. The internet. Where on the internet? I don't know. Okay, this is not necessarily going to come through on the video, but already I must admit it's not as crisp. I feel like if I open up iTerm again, there's like a level of, this is probably not really going to show up on the video, but there's a level of crispness to the text, even though it's a terminal. And up here, it looks pretty similar, but for some reason in my mind, it looks a bit fuzzy. And a bit, I don't know, a bit squished. I'm not quite sure. I'm guessing there might be ways to change that. I'm not really seeing any preferences, which is interesting. So I don't know how we change anything like fonts. Maybe this. So that's interesting. They go for this kind of native approach, and yet they don't follow native UI designs. There's literally nothing. Well, there's something, but very little up here. To do on the menus. It's here, which seems odd. Why not put it in the usual place? I don't know. And equally, yeah, this is not a native experience, really. I'm going to do what I always do with these sorts of applications and open up my activity monitor and see the kind of impact it's having. I mean, it's a terminal, so probably going to have fairly minimal impact. It's running it's not really doing anything, though. So the web page is taking up more CPU usage right now. Anyway, appearance, sync with OS, that might help. Let's see. Although, as you saw from iTerm, I don't really use iTerm in light mode, but actually maybe we'll just keep it in dark. That makes more sense. Oh, there's different themes. Okay. Dark, light, Dracula, what's that one? Solarized dark. I don't really want a background on my terminal. I don't know which one to use. I would just like it to be a little bit crisper. Yeah, that'll do. I'm getting distracted by themes. This is not really what this is all about. Okay. I generally make the font a bit bigger. I've got old man eyes. What I would like, which might seem an odd requirement, and I'm pretty sure iTerm does it. Let me just check. It's something I always change, again, because I'm old and I've got bad eyes. All these things made by these kids with their good eyesight. No, okay, I'm going mad. For some reason I thought iTerm let you change line height. That wouldn't even make sense on a terminal really, but whatever. Well, maybe it does actually, but I haven't changed it. So anyway, irrelevant right now. So I'm going to increase the font a bit. Whatever, we'll keep to that font for now. Compact mode, I'm quite sure what that means. It'd be nice if it said something. Features. I'm really struggling to read any of this. And I can't, because it's not Electron, I can't zoom in. Shortcut screen on new tab. I don't know what that means, but sure. We're able to leave everything on. Honor user's custom prompt setting. I think that's what we saw earlier. I'm going to keep that off. for now. Hotkey window. I don't know what this means. Blocks. I don't know what blocks are yet. Okay, that'll do for now. Cool. I still wouldn't mind a bit of a kind of orientation. I mean, it looks very different. It does feel more like VS Code, and we can see again here. So Command P. So this is like Visual Studio Code and many other tools. Interesting. AI command search. What on earth does that mean? Check for updates. I mean, it's sort of weird because I don't often really need a command palette in my terminal. I don't really do things that much. Deleting, end, find, focus, terminal input, fold, home. Home, not sure what that's going to mean. Mostly sort of navigational, which I'm probably likely to do with a keyboard. Really. Which, as we can see, keyboard shortcuts here. So I don't know. Split pane. Command D or Command Shift E. That didn't do anything. I didn't do anything either. Maybe I need to have done something first. Anyway, let's actually run some commands and see what happens. So let's do a good old-fashioned ls. Yeah, this is my home folder. It's giving me a time indicator for some reason, and there's now more 3 dots here. That must be what blocks are. Yeah, now this is interesting because the whole thing with the font size I'm finding quite hard because it's changed my terminal font size but not the interface font size. And this font size is way smaller than my font size, and I am really struggling to read this. That's something that really needs some changing, I think. Copy command, copy output, copy both, create a permalink. Now that's potentially interesting maybe for someone like me who does videos. Let's see what it actually means. So create a copy link, pending. Okay, what does it actually mean? Let's see. So this is quite cool. I would potentially even keep warp around for documentation purposes, although maybe not actually because this is not embeddable. If this was embeddable, that would be awesome. I'm sure there's a way to hack it, but maybe that's a feature for future releases. So you can see though that the look and feel is not the same as my terminal. Yeah, let me get the idea. So copy it, copy the link. That's kind of cool. This could be very useful for illustrative purposes, blog post documentation, etc., etc. Okay, and there's now blocks in the settings, I suppose. Shared blocks. There we go. Yep. Cool. All right, what else was there? Copy that, we saw all that. Copy the prompt, copy the working directory. Find within block, re-input command. So that effectively just gives us that. See, this is interesting as well. I'm just noticing I seem to have my command history. I haven't got my command prompt, but I have my command history here, interestingly. I don't know if I have my aliases. Let's see. Yes, I do. So I do have my aliases actually. But they're not having any effect here. This is an interesting thing. So what terminal environment is this? I'm guessing it's bash. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Now, we're actually now also seeing something interesting up here, is it's showing me the ability to jump to previous command. Maybe we should run some more. I got to think of some common things I do. So I often use this jump, auto jump, which I really like, to jump into particular folders. Yeah, now we're getting some, I don't know what to call them, helpers, I suppose. And I have like a shell file in here that I run a lot that pulls content and populates my website based on it. So that's all still working. Now I'm just seeing some interesting things here from right-clicking. Let's come back to that in a second. Okay, so this whole block thing is kind of interesting. I mean, so I could pop up to here and I don't know, I guess we're going to have pretty similar, yeah, exactly the same commands. Find within block. There we go. So yeah, and here we can do find it. This font is getting even smaller. Case. I can't even read this. Case sensitive search. Okay, yeah, this font work needs some tweaking. And I saw this right click. I was interested by that. So we have similar things again, but also copy git branch. So that's the basic change. We can see the panes here. But I'm not seeing that here. It only seems to be on the text, which is interesting. Okay. Yeah. The other interesting thing is we only get the offer to split. So this is where I think the paradigms are different. So if I was working, for example, in iTerm, I would generally here say I want to do, I don't know, 2 things and keep an eye on them. I have 2 tables, open up like that. And it's kind of, before I do something effectively in this particular case. Here it seems to be, if I say, for example, I wanted to carry on working here, but I wanted to split it, it seems that what you actually do is you split the output. The traditionalist in me would really like to have the output underneath the command, to be honest with you. That might be possible. Yeah. So that's not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting maybe the paradigm to be shifted, but now I see to have effectively what I would normally have in iTerm. So I'm not quite sure why I had to click here to get the split as opposed to here. Yeah. I don't know why I can't seem to split anywhere else. I don't know what the command is now. Let's see. Oh no, it's Command P. Split. So maybe I can just do a split whenever I want. Maybe it's just the context is just a bit weird. Split pane down. Yeah, okay. So it's the new one, effectively. So we could just do a lot of... yeah, I don't know. I need to have some more advanced commands here, really. Okay, yeah. I don't know how I close them again. How do I close them again? I'm not sure. Get close current session. Okay, so I guess I close, yeah, and I'm assuming that will close the whole thing. Yeah, let's not do that. Okay, interesting. What's new? Okay, added default. Okay, anyway. I can also have tabs, new tabs, much the same. I just saw then it flashed its ZSH, not bash. Okay. I wonder why it doesn't pick up your, well, you can set it. I wonder why by default it doesn't pick up your command prompt though. Let's enable it though. I kind of miss it. I wonder why they don't though. There must be a reason. Probably for speed or something. I don't know if I have to refresh maybe. And now I'm just seeing nothing. Well, I think I preferred it from previously. I don't know. That wasn't quite what I was expecting. What else are we missing? Let's have a look at some more of these welcome tips. Workflows. I'm going to zoom in a bit because I'm really struggling to see this stuff. Search for and execute hard to remember commands. Source from our own community. Okay. Split, we've done that. History search. Oh, that's pretty standard. AI, we should probably check that. Let's remember hat graph. Backtick, that's a weird shortcut. It's control, isn't it? What am I talking about? I'm not writing French accent, it's control. Shift and R, okay. So this is what we saw in some of the screenshots. And I could also add my own. This is kind of nice. What would be super cool if it pulled some of these in from your aliases. That would be cool. Because they're effectively similar things, I think. I don't know. Docker. I don't have Docker running right now. Let's Git. Okay. Git. I mean, all of these are pretty. Yeah. Okay. That's kind of nice. Shift tab to cycle parameters. What does that mean? Okay. That's pretty cool. I don't actually want to do that though. So let's try that again. Curl. I'm trying to think of actually something that's not going to cause me problems. Compare 2 files in VS Code. I didn't even know you could do that from the command line. That's pretty cool. Homebrew, that'll do. brew list. I mean, that's fine. In all honesty, I'm not really sure if that is easier than me just typing and then kind of, I don't know if there's, yeah. There is, I hit tab there, that's, oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, that's actually, no, what we really want is here. Yeah, there we go. That's actually much more useful, and that replaces a lot of the functionality of Fig, actually. So I think this is more interesting. Probably more likely to do that. I think. I don't know. Hard to say. All right, let's try this AI one. I think I've already forgotten what the control and backtick. Okay. Type in natural language to get a suggested command. Whew. Search text for a word. Grep iWord file text. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. There's a little toggle here as well. Command and enter to input the command. Okay. All right. I need a file, obviously. Let's find a file first, and then let's do that. I'm in my home directory, aren't I? I don't think there's anything in here. Let's go into my... It does feel quite smooth. It was obviously hard to come across on the video as I'm typing the when I hit the commands and the kind of the screen is it feels relatively smooth. That sounds a very vague thing to say because you can't really tell. But styleguide.md. Let's do that. So let's yeah, search for text. That's interesting. That's... I can't remember exactly what I wrote last time, but that's different this time. Search a file for text. Yeah, that's what I had last time. Interesting. So it's not that clear. Okay, so this, I mean, yeah, obviously I still have to change a lot of things here to make this work, so I'm not quite sure how useful this is, but let's see. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure there is, so that's, I hit up then, you'd normally do to get history, so this is the visual history. Yeah, I don't actually use grep very often. There we go, so it does work, good. So it'd be kind of cool to do the copying type thing. All right, let's have a very quick look through some other features we might have missed. I think we've got most of it, to be honest with you. Unlike other terminals, like a model, I don't know if that's strictly true. Oh, that was the thing I wanted to check. What I'd like to do is find a really long command. Okay, whatever, yeah, that'll do. I'm not actually going to enter it. Now, I can do this. This is me just pressing keys, as you can see. I can jump between. What I'd really love to be able to do, okay, you can click your cursor. I don't know how happy that makes me. That makes me very happy. I don't think I'm necessarily going to switch terminals just for that, but the fact I can do that is super cool. And I'm sure someone will now tell me there is a way to do that in a terminal, but this is by default. I didn't have to do anything. If I could get my Starship and etc. in here, that would be great. But yeah, I'm sure it's possible. So that is quite cool. We can do multi-line commands. I think that's pretty standard actually. Or opt enter. Not quite sure doesn't really look like there's any difference, but yeah, there's a lot of kind of input here. Blocks I think we looked at a lot of already. Pretty good, pretty easy. Navigating between blocks, up and down arrows, have the quick jump, actions on the blocks. It's interesting that for a product that was very, very in the sort of Hacker News, and I mean generally the Hacker News recently, it's funny that their docs are not that up to date. Find, I think, are good with, yeah. Command history, I think we saw. Auto suggestions, we already saw working. It's hard for me to know how much of this is built in and how much of it might be because of my various environment settings, but seems to be working, I think. Completions, yeah, we saw the completions. That was actually quite cool. Let's go into a repository. So git, I don't know what I want, etc. Add, I don't know what I want. Yeah. So we get the idea. So that's quite nice that that's built in. Themes, yeah, whatever. Not too fussy. The kebab menu, this is now called. It used to be called the burger menu. When did it become a kebab? Interesting. Different themes, custom themes, etc., etc. I don't know how they're created. YAML. Okay, there you go. Interesting. Fine. Prompt. Okay, let's have a look. I do not... Starship, they're working on support. Oh no, working. Does it work working? Huh. Interesting. Oh, I see. List of incompatible tools. I think these are here. That's why. Fine. Okay. No worries. Compact mode. Condenser spacing. I actually wouldn't mind seeing how that looks. Where was it in appearance, I guess? I actually kind of prefer that. To be honest with you, it looks more like a normal terminal, I think. But we still get all the features. Yeah, I think I kind of prefer that actually. Split panes we saw, that's fine. Session management, restore session history. I think that's pretty normal. Full screen apps, Emacs and things like that. I could test this. Yeah, I mean, it looks as expected. It doesn't really look any fundamentally different, I suppose. Oops. Oh. My emoji picker is getting in the way. SSH. I doubt this is going to be any different. I don't really want to SSH into... I have some things I could SSH into, but I don't really want to because it will reveal the address of something. We'll leave that alone for now. I guess it's going to be pretty similar. Keyboard shortcuts we saw. Workflows we saw. AI command search we saw. Interesting feature. Not completely there yet, but interesting. Performance. They do seem to like talking about performance. Okay, we can have a quick look. Well, there we go. Let's have a look. So I'm looking at iTerm. Warp is in blue. iTerm is apparently pretty slow. Seems to be. I don't know. I don't know if I'm really too fussed about performance of my terminal. I'm not sure, but anyway. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Terminal features. Anything we've missed? Double underline. No one has double underline. It looks like they're missing quite a few things. It looks like iTerm still has a lot of, but iTerm has been around for quite some time. It doesn't look like the Warp, well, ignoring all the special features, doesn't look like Warp has anything that iTerm doesn't, ignoring that kind of stuff. Sixel graphics, I have absolutely no idea what that means, but sounds wonderful. Accessibility, etc., etc. I think we get the idea. Well, that's Warp. There's a couple of things I really like about it. Let's jump into wrapping up. There's a few things I really like about it. I mean, it's crazy the fact that it does treat the text like text as opposed to terminal. The ability to be able to click in and out of a string. Sometimes when you have those really long strings, they get so lost. And I'm sure someone will tell me there's a proper way to do that in a normal terminal, but I don't know what it is, because I could just do it there by default. Some of the customizations I've spent quite some time getting my terminal set up with. Looks like they're not transferable yet, but that's probably a matter of time. The whole block thing, I'm not sure. There's some interesting aspects. If those blocks were embeddable, I could definitely see some documentation, blog post type purposes, combining it with something like, I can't think what it's called, but there's like a terminal screenshotting app that's very popular for taking screenshots of terminals. Well, that turns them into an image, which I've always found a bit weird. But anyway, even combining with things like with things like Skidabar and Terminalizer, that kind of functionality could be quite interesting. I am assuming they will have some sort of plug-in architecture at some point, because that's usually what these tools do. But generally, some nice features, but I'm uncertain, I think, because you kind of want... You kind of like the terminal being the way it is, and I'm not sure if making it more modern is necessary. I don't know. That will remain to be seen. I think I'll keep it around and keep an eye on it. I do this with so many of the projects I look at, and then I end up sticking with it? I should have some report backs on some of these videos. Do I still use the things I said I would? I don't know. But it's a nice start. It's an interesting start, and I'll keep an eye on it. If they could sort out that interface font, that would be amazing. I'm really struggling to see a lot of that. I mean, in a normal terminal, that isn't really a concern, because the interface is the terminal. But with this, where you actually have menus that serve purposes, you need to be able to see that font better. It would be nice if it was more native to macOS, I think, in that way. But generally quite interesting. It's currently free. I mean, I think it's going to probably be like Raycast, for example. A lot of these developer tools at the moment, it's free, and then they charge for Team. So I think the pricing is to be determined, but you can actually, there is a plan here. That could be interesting. That whole sort of team-based aspect to things could be interesting. Team terminals. I don't know. We'll see. If you're interested in taking a look, it's warp.dev. Pretty easy to remember, and it's something I'll keep an eye on. And I'll report back on whether I keep using it and what happens. But for now, interesting project. Needs some tweaks here and there, but it's very new. Am I going to stick to it? Not sure yet. We'll see. But for now, I think that was a nice little wrap up of Warp, the terminal for the 21st century, or at least a reimagining, let's go for that, of the terminal. If you enjoyed what you saw today, you can find more at chrischinchilla.com, where you can find all my other videos, blog posts, etc., etc. Please subscribe, say hi, leave a comment. Always nice to hear from you. And until next week, I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I will keep an eye on my website for schedule. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody.